All right, guys, our giveaway for this video is a beautiful 4-claw Undertaker. All you got to do as always is make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and leave a comment. Good luck. All right, guys, we have made it to Eagles Crossing in Hawk Point, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis. This is a time lapse once you get to their property. It's about a mile and a half, if I remember correctly, drive in. But once you come in, I mean, it is just a scenic view, being able to see, you know, what we've already seen on YouTube, the cake tier, the fountain, the flags. You're going to pull in, check in. It's just a phenomenal experience just driving in. But here we go. Hole one. We're going to be playing the pro layouts, the blue pads. But you guys have all seen this one, throwing over the water. Today is not terribly windy, so kind of grateful for that. But I almost started off with an ace. I was pretty excited about that. Got really close to that. Here we go. Hole two. This one is in the C position, I believe. Going to be quite the distance. These time lapses, you know, I'm going to mix it up to where I walk to the water, zoom in like I have done in previous videos, and then continue once I get across. There, you know, if you look to the right, there are some animals there, which is pretty cool. But throwing my Octane over the water, this throw I thought was going to be a lot further. It's actually not too terrible of a first throw, especially being uphill. You just got to hit this gap. And then from here, I was not aware of the water. Like, there's a little cove on the other side, like right before you get to the basket. So I was pretty grateful that I did not go into the water, but I was maybe about 5 feet from going in. So right behind me was the water. But getting a par on this one, I'm very grateful for that. So here we go, hole number 3. And, you know, you can look at those caddy books. They do give you a caddy book when you get there. They will talk about all of the different locations and stuff, and they actually have it handwritten in there. But this one is a well-wooded hole, and had a good pull there, but ended up catching one of these trees. And then if you catch a tree, you're probably going to end up catching another tree and another tree if you get offline here. But had a good tree kick on this one and was able to have a decent layup. And this is my par putt, and just ended up a little short on this one, so that's all right with me. But so far, absolutely loving this course. Great baskets, great signage with the caddy book and whatnot. So this is probably the famous hole that we've all seen so far. This water carry is about 470, and then, you know, if you watched any of the YouTubes of the skins matches, it's when you get there, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's quite the carry to get there. But there's plenty of room on the left to throw a hyzer, and those stakes over there are OB, so you can lay up again, kind of like what I'm doing here. So from this position, I'm going to be throwing over the fountain, and I ended up having a good throw. It is a blind shot if you are out of position, so just kind of gauging where the fountain is and trying your best. But I did land on the bottom tier, so I was happy about that. And I left this video the whole entire time so you could see actually how massive this thing really is. You know, it's one thing to see it in videos, it's another to actually have to climb up it. But moving on, here we go. This is a train wreck hole, par 5. Want to be quiet. It's really cool how they have that censored, so you can walk down there, it'll start going off. But the first shot of this one is not too terrible. Just throwing kind of a basic hyzer, making sure you land in the fairway. But you saw how long the fairway was after that, so you're gonna have to make sure you throw something straight for a long ways. And I got super lucky on this forehand shot. I thought I was about to clip that tree right there, but it is quite the distance. So from here, I'm going to be throwing a roller just because I didn't really have any other shot, and ended up having a pretty good roller. Hit a rock, I believe, and kind of skipped me off to the left and letting it finish right. And then, you know, if you watched any of the YouTubes of the skins matches, it's one thing to see it in videos, it's another to actually have to climb up it. But the first shot of this one is not too terrible. Just throwing kind of a basic hyzer, making sure you land in the fairway. But you saw how long the fairway was after that, so you're gonna have to make sure you throw something straight for a long ways. And So that was my fourth shot, and then just going to be tapping in for my par. But here we go, hole number 6, the Buddha hole. There's actually Buddha to the right, which we'll see here in a second, but you got to throw down the road, making sure that you land on the island. And I just ended up throwing a little too early there into the trees and got kicked down. So going to the drop zone. So from the drop zone, it's not a terrible thing, but you know, a little bit of a death putt. There's the Buddha statue in the back. So you just gotta, you know, accept your bogey or try to run it and watch out for that pond, depending on how you want to look at it. But hole 7, this one is a little nerve-wracking. This gap right there is probably 10 feet or so, and I ended up going to the right of the gap. So I was happy to get across, but it was ended up having to tree kick back into this. I thought I was out of bounds. So tapping in for a par there. So hole number 8, this one's going to be just over 300 feet. Tight little gap, nothing too crazy about this one. Nice little forehand shot, turnover shot, whatever you're comfortable with. But they, you know, as you can tell, they've done an immaculate job so far, and they're still working on this course, so it is only going to get better. I believe right now it's rated the number 2 course in the U.S. behind Maple Hill. A lot of talk about this one becoming number 1 soon, so we will see. But hole number 9, gonna kind of almost be like 2 islands in a way, 2 ginormous islands, because this first one right here, that, you know, there's a pond to the right, but the stake's all the way across, so you are on that first little island and get as far as you can. I threw a hyzer and came in a decent spot. Gonna be throwing a forehand here, and I believe I was maybe like 320 or so out. So this was actually probably one of the easier ones, because it's not as dense with the trees. Yes, they're there, but you have plenty of airspace to work with it. So hole number 10, this is a long hole. So just going to be wide open until you get to the very bottom door. They have some guardian trees in the basket and OB left and right, so you got to make sure you land in the fairway. So throwing the Octane here, this one will flip up, glide. I was very happy not to go OB on this hole, but it is still, you know, just I believe almost 900 feet on where this pin position is. So gonna be throwing the same disc again. It was basically 2 drives for me to finally get down there. I'm sure it's gonna be 2 drives for anyone. So laying up with the zone, ended up just not giving it quite enough and caught that branch, so it shot me down, but had a putt for par. This is a par 4, and it is downhill, so you could definitely get there. You just got to have 2 huge drives, about 425 each or plus. So this next one, I actually got a little lost. I thought it was to the right, and I'm so sorry for the shakiness, but I was getting confused on where to go, and then I found it up in the woods. So once again, throwing that Octane. This fairway is a little bit bigger than the previous one. And from here, throwing my Tesla, and may it rest in peace. I thought I was going to get that on hyzer, and I did get it on hyzer. It just went way too far. So in the middle of this pond, so taking my drop and throwing the zone to lay up. But if I remember correctly here, in that they do drain the ponds and will return disc, so that's a positive feeling for me. Hopefully I get it back in the near future. So here we go. This one, I did read the caddy book wrong, so I do apologize for that. I didn't waste my time with the time lapse and showing you the wrong way, but I remember watching this on coverage, and I could have swore they went to the left, and I remember looking at it real quick, and I thought it was to the left. So had a great drive with my Insanity there, and if I would have just thrown a forehand from there, there's a great chance that I could have got there, but I threw the forehand the complete wrong direction. And after I threw it, sometimes what I'll do is I'll time lapse, go to my disc, time lapse after I throw. And especially with this course, I mean, it's 800-foot hole, 700-foot hole, 800-foot hole, start off on the back nine, and it just keeps going. But just went the wrong way. Kind of stinks, but that's my fault. So ended up taking a bogey on that one. So par 5, this one I believe was a little over 900 feet through the woods. somewhat wide open. And I mean, the grass that they have here is absolutely amazing. You got OB right, OB left. There are, you know, a lot of trees that are in the fairway, but I mean, it is fair at the same time to where you have a lot of airspace. So there are just tons and tons of different options on this hole. It's just a matter of staying in bounds is the key thing, and getting as much distance as you can, because it is close to 1,000 feet, if I remember correctly. Somewhere between 9 and 1,000. So that was my fourth shot, just laying up and tapping in for par. So very happy with that one. So hole 14 is going to be another par 5, just over 800. Now, if you watch the skins match that just came out recently, I know Calvin Heimberg actually outdrove and went out of bounds on this one, and it's just crazy. Like, when you get there and you walk this, it's just really fascinating to see how far he threw in between all these trees. Didn't hit anything before going out of bounds. So, you know, it's really, really unique. Like, if you ever get a chance to play here, just to watch some of the coverage beforehand and then go and play. And that's the same thing for any other course, really, but this one especially. So I was able to come up here, fourth shot, and was able to save this one for my par. Really excited. Now, hole 15, moving on. This is, once again, if you watch the most recent skins match, the one that Scott Stokely, excuse me, had his famous forehand shot through the trees. And I did walk that line, and it is, you know, props to him. That was an amazing shot. So throwing the insanity here, was able to make the gap. And I had a great drive on this one. I was really excited. So I'm going to kind of imitate my own Scott Stokely line here, kind of throwing it through the trees. And once I saw it get through, I was pretty happy. And I thought I had a great drive. I thought I was parked, and then realized how short I actually was. So it is quite the ways tucked away in there. But taking another par here. So this is absolutely, with the sunset, a gorgeous, gorgeous one. A little hard to see just because of glare coming off the sun, but just a very scenic hole. So you got to make sure you get enough hyzer on this so you don't hit the wall that they built, the retaining wall there. And I came in just a little early, and that was kind of my goal, because it was like about 400 feet. I wasn't too confident that I would be able to park it, so just wanted to play it safe. So the next one, going downhill about another 400-foot shot. OB all around it, so it's kind of an island. Throwing the insanity again. This disc was just really working for me today. Flip up, riding straight, and I've always loved insanities for that. Great fairway. And I was able to pretty much park this hole, so really excited about that one. So hole 18, last one. Really cool koi pond to the left, and a beautiful waterfall as well. And then coming up, it'll kind of just be this little island, and then having to land on another island. So it's like a double island, but try to go a little bit wider with my hyzer and just cut it off a little early, but I was okay with it because I had plenty of room over here to throw the forehand through there. And then going to be coming up, throwing just a spike hyzer. And I thought I absolutely parked this, but I guess I skipped to the backside of it and totally forgot to take it off of the time lapse. But it was 1 over 71. I was thrilled with it. Now, this course is a monster. This almost took 3 hours to play and film. I'm sure it would have been a little shorter, but guys, I cannot recommend this course enough. I know it does cost money. You got to make a tee time, but absolutely worth it if you guys are ever in Hawk Point, Missouri, or near St. Louis, about an hour away. Check it out. Eagles Crossing, definitely one of the top courses in the world.